Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our entitled people. In today's episode, entitled Son at Hospital. Former coworker thinks he did the right thing, he gave my stalker the name of my new job. Giving it for free isn't good enough. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled Son at Hospital. In a previous life I was a nurse, and one story always sticks in my mind. I was on a discharge ward juggling lots of patients trying to get home, some by ambulance, but the majority had to rely on relatives to come and collect them. Most relatives were fine with this, but the occasional ones made it very clear that collecting their relative was an inconvenience. We had an elderly lady come down to the unit to wait one day. She was a sweetheart and we got on like a house on fire. I kept an eye on her throughout the day and ensured she had food and drinks. She kept apologizing for being an inconvenience to us. She told us that her son was very busy and important, and reading between the lines, it turned out that he rarely spent any time with her. "He's so busy all the time," she said, "I don't like to be a nuisance." She had been previously widowed and no other children or other relatives she could call on. It sounded like she led a lonely life, trying to be as independent as possible. This was her first time staying in hospital. As the day wore on, I could hear the increasingly desperate phone calls she was making to him trying to get collected. It wasn't hard to overhear him shouting down the phone at her that he was busy. Eventually, just before we were due to close, she called me over with an embarrassed face. "He's here," she said. "Oh good," I said. "Is he on his way in?" Her face reddened and she said, "He's waiting in the car and told me to get to him, but I don't think I can walk that far." She looked exhausted and like she wanted to cry. "Give me a sec and I'll take you to him," I said. I grabbed a wheelchair and while she nipped to the loo, I tucked a packet of sandwiches and crisps in her bag as I didn't trust he was going to look after her at home either. We got down to the entrance and she pointed out a supercar, can't remember the type. I saw the boot open but no one emerged from the car. I pushed her to the door and heard a gruff "Get in" from the guy in the driver's seat. I helped the lady into the car, carrying on a cheery conversation to help cover her embarrassment but also to make a point to the son. He didn't say a word or move a muscle as I wrestled with the wheelchair and his mother and deposited her things in the boot. I said goodbye to the lady and he closed the boot with a button, revved the engine in apparent impatience and roared out of the car park. It's not a very interesting story and there was no comeuppance for the son, but even 20 years later I often think about that lady and wonder how she got on. I know that we don't always know what's going on in anyone's lives, but he seems so hard on her. Poor lady, clearly the son doesn't care about the mother in the slightest. I hope she's alright and got some more willing help. I hope she left everything to charity. My first instinct is to think that that guy is a horrible person, but there's a chance that this woman was not a nice mother but put on a good show for the outside world. There's very real chance, but without knowing more, that guy sucked. Oh yeah, that does happen, doesn't it? Thinking of something true my sister told our cousins, I almost seconded, but cousin spoke first. "We don't believe you." They never wondered where we were, while mom was visiting their mom all those hours, late in the night, who was looking after the youngsters. She wasn't drinking or carousing, just visiting her sister. Her kids can watch each other. Oh, the older ones left the younger one alone? She'll be fine. No problem, she doesn't complain. Totally shitty, but you don't know the relationship people have with their kids. Granted, people can change, but some kids are still affected by trauma all the same. She may be a nice elder now but could possibly have not been when raising him. Former coworker thinks he did the right thing, he gave my stalker the name of my new job. Okay, I have talked about Weeaboo Billy more than I liked, but this time a former coworker is the focus. Let's call him Hank. The incident happened after I left in 2017. This coworker has been the worst part of my old job. He has told me he disliked my political stances and had ridiculed my writing for a while. He also thinks that my husband is a deadbeat for working from home and a lot of BS. So when I decided to change jobs to a better one than I was at. Literally, I worked returns at Walmart. I was trained as a CSM and was paid less than a normal CSM. Then there was the fact that Weeaboo Billy would show up and ask if I was getting off soon. My managers there all knew Weeaboo Billy was a stalker and had trespassed him. This was just a scare tactic that went nowhere fast. Hank wouldn't do it, he would just say, "You know he's a good guy, give him a chance. Bet he's not a deadbeat like your current boyfriend." My husband worked from home, two of my other managers, Sarah and Denise, knew this. When they defended my husband, Hank would just laugh at them and say, "Whatever, at least Billy is a real American." I had just told him that Weeaboo Billy was homeless and on SSI, was prone to violence. Of course Hank said I was exaggerating. Yeah, this did not go over well. I started looking for a better job. One of the ladies in returns, Jen, started to notice that Weeaboo Billy was excessively needy and clingy. He would demand my work schedule and Hank would tell him, which FYI you're not supposed to do. Jen reported it to the GM and she was otherwise ignored. When I told Jen why I rejected Weeaboo Billy, she told me she really hoped I got the new job and soon. She also told me she was pretending to hate me, and that we were watching each other's backs. Her ex-boyfriend was doing the same thing to her. I ran him off twice. She did the same to Weeaboo Billy. When I got the new job, Jen put in a transfer to a new store closer to her house. We both talked on Facebook and then we decided to unfriend each other for safety. We have other ways to contact each other, we call on the phone. Now for Hank, he got in trouble recently because he told his wife that he had told Weeaboo Billy about my new job. His wife informed Walmart, who in turn told my work. Our security actually had an image of Weeaboo Billy because he'd been sleeping in our garage because he's homeless and refuses to go to a shelter. Hank's wife and one of the Walmart managers who passed on, I am sad to say, also told me. I was pissed at Hank and talked to Walmart corporate office about it. It's a safety issue. Working anywhere, if you are a lead or a CSM, you never give out an employee's name, new employment or even schedule. So yeah, I got Hank fired for it. And he said that Weeaboo Billy is not a bad guy. I realized it's kicking a dead horse, and while it happened, Hank is entitled because he didn't care at all for my safety or the safety of my coworkers at my current job. For all I know, Weeaboo Billy could be plotting something. What does Hank care? He just put the nicest people at my work in danger. So yeah, thanks a lot, you entitled jackass. Just because you don't like my husband and don't consider him American. You are the un-American here now. Yeah, this is more event, but to sum it off, a CSM at my old job gave a known stalker my new place of employment. He broke rules and all because Weeaboo Billy is his friend. While I reported it and my current job has filed trespass and stalking charges, I wish I could sue Hank. Hank is jerk. But Hank thinks he is a great guy, so him thinking Weeaboo Billy is a nice guy says more about Hank's skewed view of the world. Be prepared to have him on the trespass list, because you got a delusional nice guy fired. Justifiably fired, but he is delusional and can't tell the difference between creepy and nice. You can have your attorney draft a cease and desist to Hank that threatens with suing for damages if he continues to share your personal information with external parties who are not permitted access to you. It's not Hank's business to decide who you should be with. That he would be trying to have you get with Billy, while you're currently married, says a lot about his lack of ethics. If you have had to incur any monetary losses due to Hank's behavior, I suggest looking into whether or not you could at least take him to small claims court. Maybe if he has to pay for his poor judgment, he'll stop. If you have to pay for more gas, eat at more expensive places, get a security camera, change your phone number, make a list of everything, and you may find it's worth your time to pursue. Giving it for free isn't good enough. I have been very lucky to have family and friends pass down baby clothing. Boxes and boxes of clothing hardly worn. My baby is very long for her age, so she has outgrown a majority of it quickly. Wanting to pass along the kindness, I posted on my local community page on FB offering a huge bag of clothing to whomever would like it. All stain-free and coming from a clean, smoke-free home. The amount of people messaging me demanding I drop it off or saying they want it but no showing is crazy. It is all high-quality clothing, hundreds of dollars worth of it. All for free, they just have to come get it. Or there are the people asking me to take pictures of every single item so they can hand-select clothing. I just don't understand it. It makes me not want to do stuff like this anymore. I just wanted to do something nice for someone else. I think the entitlement is a bit much. I think I will take the offer down and bring it to a domestic abuse shelter local to me instead. Asterisk sorry for any grammar issues. I try but I'm not very skilled with my writing. Sweetheart, where were you when I needed what you are offering? I would have gladly picked it up and used all that fit my baby. And what the majority of it looks like, even if it is for the opposite sex, doesn't really matter because babies sleep so much, the baby could wear those things for sleepwear. You are so kind, please, just block all the entitled Karens, and keep your offer up until someone agreeable comes along. However, a word of caution, I would take the bag in the car and meet them at a store when you go shopping. Quite often there is an area where people can sit and eat foods they buy there. Many times I have met people there to buy an item, and I gave away some very small pets in the parking lot too. Times are scary, and I prefer to meet in neutral territory, like at a store. Then, if they look scary, you don't have to tell them it's you, you can just keep quiet. That's why I don't do yard sales anymore, I just donate. Sick of the entitled people rolling up in their Mercedes and haggling with you for children's clothes or other things that are priced ridiculously low to begin with. Hint, I want to get rid of them, that's why they're 50 cents. Trying to get me to go down to 25 cents, like that's some big triumph on their part if I agree. Or the people who buy big items and want you to deliver it for free. Not kidding, that has happened almost every time I had a piece of furniture out for sale. It's amazing, isn't it? Years ago I was getting rid of a chest freezer. It was old and heavy. I offered it for $25 pickup only. I figured a couple of guys with a hunting camp, plenty where I live, would be all over it. While two eventually did, the first reasons left me speechless. This woman messages me. Skew lived about an hour away and was demanding I bring it that night to her third-floor apartment. Why, you ask? She was a lactating mother that needed more space to store pumped milk. I laughed. Her response? She was filling a police report against me for the murder of her baby. People suck. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.